and recovering stronger. As we were saying outside, we were having a photograph taken. I'm convinced we're going to come out of this crisis we've been through in the pandemic and other things stronger than we went in. Every time we engage, we get better. And today we're focused on investing together and investing stronger than we have in the past. In June, I joined my fellow G7 leaders to officially launch the Partnership for Global Infrastructure and Investment, with the collective goal of mobilizing $600 billion in 5 years for quality, sustainability, and innovative infrastructure and investments in low and middle-income countries. As I've spoken with my Canadian friends, this is something that we have an obligation to do, it seems to me, to deal with those nations that are not the primary cause of many of our problems, but are now left with a great deal of difficulty. I want to emphasize the word investments. Investments that are driven by local needs, development with our partners, and delivering real results to improve the lives of all of our people. Through the partnership, we've already launched an array of new projects with countries across the G20 and beyond, collaborating in new ways on climate, energy security, and digital connectivity, health infrastructure, and gender equity and gender equality. And let me give you some examples of the work we've been doing. First, in climate and on energy security. As we accelerate our investment and speed transition to clean energy future to meet the climate crisis head-on, we have to make sure that they benefit people everywhere, not just in the larger countries. And that's why we're proud to partner with Indonesia and Japan under both our colleagues, an unflagging leadership from both of them, together with a broad coalition of countries to create the Just Energy Transition Partnership. Not just like soon, but to be just energy partnership. Also critical to this effort has been the work of the Glasgow Financial Alliance for Net Zero, co-chaired by my friend and champion of global climate efforts, Mike Bloomberg. Together, we hope to mobilize, we're mobilizing $20 billion to support Indonesia's efforts to reduce emissions and expand renewable energy, and support workers in the who are most affected by the transition away from coal, and that can be difficult. That $20 billion from partner governments and some of the world's leading financial institutions will accelerate an ambitious energy transition that has a global impact. We also plan to invest $798 million through the new Millennium Challenge Corporation with Indonesia, which will build a climate-resilient transportation and support Indonesia's development goals. And around the world, we're also investing in critical minerals, supply chains, and technology needed for clean energy transition. For example, in Honduras, the Export-Import Bank is financing one of the largest ever solar projects in the Americas. In Brazil, the U.S. International Development Finance Corporation has invested $30 million in equity in TechMet Limited, mining and nickel, to mine nickel and cobalt, two of the minerals most needed to power electric vehicles and other clean energy technologies. Together, these investments are going to create jobs in the communities where this mining takes place, and they support and help curb climate change and global climate change. Next, we're investing in digital connectivity. As a matter of fact, when I was elected president, we invested in an infrastructure project at home because we found out, we focused on this, and we found out a significant portion of the people in my country, as wealthy as we've been, did not have access to the internet. So we came up with $1.2 billion in infrastructure to make sure every single community, rural communities and others. Well, that's the case all around the world. And so this digital connectivity, we're teaming up with a range of partners to ensure people have access to the internet, affordable access to the internet, and other technologies. These technologies are required to participate in today's economies. And for example, we're working together with Japan and Australia to upgrade networks in Papua New Guinea and across the Pacific, improving security, performance, and access to digital services. And through the United States Digital Investment Blended Finance Program, we're working with Kenya, partner C-Squared, to establish a nationwide fiber network in Liberia that's going to help connect 1 million Liberians to the web. And the next is health infrastructure. We've seen over the last few years strengthening health security must be a priority for all of us. We just went through a long discussion on that. That's why we're continuing to support vaccine manufacturing in Africa and Asia and investing $15 million to the U.S. International Development Finance Corporation in India's health infrastructure, and just a few examples. And finally, gender equity and gender equality. When we invest in equal opportunity for women, we can deliver greater prosperity for everyone, And so we're working with the G7 nations and the World Bank to launch the Invest in Child Care initiative to help families get children they need, get the child care they need, and help women get the opportunities they deserve to be able to be in the workforce. We're already starting to see returns. For example, the initiative has funded a project in Somalia, and that will help nearly 300,000 women across the country to build literacy and leadership skills. These are just some of the projects where our countries are stepping up to deliver impact investments. And we're at an inflection point. Investments we make today will have far-reaching impact on the world for generations to come. If we don't make them, they'll also have far-reaching impacts if we don't make these investments. And so creating real opportunity, greater equality, and more secure, healthy, and prosperous world is what we're all about. Moving forward, we have to continue to invest together and invest stronger. And we welcome all who share this vision to join this partnership. I want to thank you. Now I'd like to turn it over to a man we haven't heard from for the last few days. We don't know. It's all yours, Chicago.
Terima kasih Presiden Biden atas inisiatif penyelenggaraan side event Partnership for Global Infrastructure and Investment (PGII). Indonesia selalu mendukung penguatan pembangunan infrastruktur di negara-negara berkembang. Krisis multidimensional yang tengah dihadapi dunia membawa tantangan tersendiri bagi pembangunan infrastruktur di negara berkembang, termasuk melalui penyusutan ruang fiskal. Ada beberapa hal yang perlu diperhatikan PGII dalam mendukung pembangunan infrastruktur di negara berkembang. Pertama, dukungan harus country driven, berdasarkan kebutuhan real negara tujuan. Konsultasi dan dialog dengan negara penerima harus menjadi pedoman utama. Pembangunan infrastruktur perlu memberdayakan masyarakat dan ekonomi setempat agar memiliki rasa kepemilikan yang tinggi, disertai dukungan bagi negara berkembang untuk membangun kapasitas dan kemampuan mandiri. Dengan demikian, negara berkembang dapat lebih tangguh menghadapi tantangan global di masa mendatang. Sebagai contoh, Indonesia tengah mendorong pemerataan pembangunan melalui pemindahan ibu kota ke Nusantara. Ini akan membuka peluang investasi sebesar 20,8 miliar dolar di berbagai sektor infrastruktur. Kedua, upaya kita harus didasarkan paradigma kolaborasi. Pelibatan lebih banyak pemangku kepentingan, termasuk sektor swasta, akan membawa manfaat nyata. Saya percaya inisiatif seperti PGII akan semakin bermanfaat jika melibatkan sebanyak-banyaknya negara di dunia. Ketiga, PGII harus menghasilkan dukungan pembangunan berkelanjutan, termasuk lewat pembangunan hijau dan transisi energi. Negara berkembang paling rentan terhadap tantangan pembangunan berkelanjutan dan perubahan iklim. Presidensi G20 Indonesia telah mendorong kerjasama nyata di bidang sustainable infrastructure dan pendanaan pembangunan. Indonesia sendiri juga bersungguh-sungguh mengembangkan industri hijau termasuk ekosistem industri mobil listrik sebagaimana yang mulia saksikan langsung di KTT Bali ini. Yang mulia, Indonesia siap mendukung inisiatif PGII. Harapan saya PGII dapat memperkuat hasil yang telah dicapai di G20. Terima kasih.
Thank you very much, President Biden, President Widodo. We have discussed throughout this day that we live in a truly volatile global economy with obviously changing climate. And on top, in addition, we see that Russia's war is rubbing salt in the wound of the economic recovery of COVID-19. So this mixture made us completely reevaluate our energy, our trade, and our security relationships. What is the situation for the European Union? We have decided to diversify completely away from the Russian fossil fuels. We have understood and learned our lesson that it was an unhealthy dependency, unsustainable, and we want reliable and forward-looking connections. And this is why we are launching the Partnership for Global Infrastructure and Investment, PGII. We are joining forces to give our partners a powerful and a positive offer. You have said, dear Joe, the world needs a positive investment boost. This is what it's all about. To help build the global infrastructure that we all need for sustainable growth. So invest in renewable energy, in transport corridors, in digital connections that people can trust. From the European side, the contribution is the so-called Global Gateway. It's our 300 billion euros investment program for abroad for the next 5 years, combined with the wish to harness the power and the knowledge of the private sector. And we're deeply convinced that this will be a game changer for 2 reasons. First of all, Global Gateway, or PGII, is not just investing massively in the state-of-the-art infrastructure, but is also investing in the local capacities of our partners. This is crucial. We want to strengthen our shared resilience. We have been discussing in the last session the vaccine manufacturing example. What is special about it? If we take the example from the European Union, there is a European-American company that is sharing its mRNA technology and training local professionals. So it's about skills. Then we have African and European financial institutions that are providing the investment. And we have our regulatory medicines agency that are sharing their know-how. No single actor in this combination could have done this alone, but together we're able really to deliver on the ground. And my second point is that the Partnership for Global Infrastructure and Investment is working because it is demand-driven. We see an enormously rising demand for renewable energy, and this is a good example. As I said, Europe has decided to diversify completely away from the Russian fossil fuels, and we want to leapfrog to clean energy. We need this clean energy, not only to have it homegrown, but also to import it. Our partners in the global south have an abundance of clean energy potential and resources. So Europe could turn into the world's largest market for their energy exports. What is necessary is investment and infrastructure. And that's where we have to team up. So some examples: at COP27, we've signed hydrogen partnerships with Namibia, Egypt, and Kazakhstan. Or with Namibia, we're building transport corridors from the Indian Ocean to the Atlantic port of Walvis Bay. And there's much more to be done. I'm very happy that today we launch the Just Energy Transition Partnership with Indonesia, a big step forward. Team Europe will contribute over 1 billion euros. It is the roadmap for the country's low-carbon future, and we are investing in developing geothermal energy. Or we are engaged in talks with India for renewable hydrogen, with Chile for critical raw materials. Or we are launching a digital alliance in Latin America to build a fiber optic cables and satellite connectivity. Many of these examples show exactly the direction of travel and the shared interest that we do have. So we are ready to contribute. If we align our investment strategies and crowd in the private sector, that is crucial. I think we can maximize our joint impact. Let's bundle our forces and make a positive difference in investment globally. Now I have the pleasure to invite the heads of state to deliver their remarks, and I hand over the floor to Japan's Prime Minister Kishida. Fumio, you have the floor.
はい、ありがとうございます。まずこのイベントの開催を歓迎いたします。インフラは国の発展の基盤です。グローバルインフラ投資パートナーシップが進める質の高いインフラ投資は、インドネシアが掲げる G20 のテーマ。
Kami akan menjamu yang mulia dan Bapak Ibu di hamparan pantai Bali yang indah yang menginspirasi gagasan-gagasan inovatif untuk produktivitas G20 ke depan. Sampai bertemu di Indonesia, terima kasih.